Ever wondered what the world map would look like in the near future? A future where borders are redrawn and identities are reshaped? Well, join us as we take a look at 5 new countries that might exist soon. But first, like and subscribe for more such intriguing content. Starting at number 5 is West and East Libya. As the map continues to change with differences in perspective and vision, the land of Libya has decided not to stand back as well. Although Libya gained its freedom as an independent country in 1951 under the rule of King Idris, the fight is not yet over. The governance of Libya is rather complicated. There are multiple governments who do not get along and are constantly in fight for the ultimate governance. However, the 2 major governments of Libya could be West and East Libya. The East and West Libya of Africa, after the revolution in Libya, the country has faced severe conflicting views on leadership roles and is mainly confused on what party to follow, that is either the West or the East. Despite having several self-proclaimed governing bodies that aim at ruling the country, there are 2 major power holders. On one hand is the most widely known and United Nations accepted governing body in Tripoli known as West Libya, and on the other hand is the region that upholds the ideology of General Haftar's governance in the east, in the city of Tobruk. The rising conflict between these 2 governments could ultimately lead to an event of a split in the country which would end up in the creation of 2 separate sovereign states, or maybe a new government arising to much surprise. The country of West Libya and the country of East Libya. We never know what could happen, but we'll just have to see. At number 4 is Cascadia. A part of Canada that could potentially team up with the United States and declare its independence. That's exactly the case of Cascadia. It is a self-governed region situated in the western part of Northern America. This forms a combination of the Canadian province of British Columbia and the US states of Oregon and Washington, which could be extended to southern Alaska, including small parts of the state of Utah, Idaho, Nevada, Montana, Wyoming, and even Yukon. This combination of present-day Washington, Oregon, and British Columbia alone will make Cascadia home to more than 17 million people and would have an economy generating $1.1 trillion worth of goods and services in a year. The idea of an independent region goes further back in history. 3 novel personalities have suggested the idea of a sovereign Pacific Republic in the region and during the Civil War that occurred in the US. This confusion in the East Coast ultimately gave the hope of independence to some locals in the region. There have been several documentaries, novels, and visuals on the Cascadia movement. The Doug flag, showing a Douglas fir tree, has become the most popular flag adopted by the Cascadia movement. This flag, designed by Alexander Baratic, has a hidden meaning in it. The blue represents the sky and the Pacific Ocean, while the white represents the cloud and snow, and the green represents the forest. Since this specific region is considered as a bioregion, the proposed idea suggests that it either becomes a region of its own or it should be governed and controlled by a common government. This region emerging as a bioregion makes it all the more important for it to emerge as an independent sovereign republic. Although it seems like this boat has sailed off, you never know until it actually happens, as this could very well be the 20th largest country in the world in the near 2030s or so. Next on our list is Hawaii. Although the United States, after about 100 years, issued an apology resolution seeking apologies from the region of Hawaii for overthrowing the kingdom and accepted it to be illegal, most of the people held a sort of redressal towards the United States, mainly because they overthrew Liliuokalani and the military occupation throughout 1898. The majority considered the natives to be neglected and that they have to withstand worse living conditions compared to the rest. They also have mentioned that there have been a severe decline in their native traditions as a lack of native governance can clearly be noticed. Sources confirm that in September 2015, the United States Department of the Interior declared a procedure to make way for the native Hawaiian government. However, not much detail could be found on this matter. As the Hawaii is still under the holds of the United States, their cultural and traditional upbringings are slowly fading away, and with time, this will only lessen. Therefore, the struggle for an independent Hawaii Republic never ceases to exist, and maybe in the nearby futures, in the 2030s or so, perhaps we could potentially imagine a republic nation. And since all US nations secede and for the sole purpose of regaining their cultural and traditional values, Hawaii could possibly emerge as a sovereign state, or at least get its own national Hawaii governance to uphold its traditions and remain rooted to them. We can maybe see this happening somewhere along in the long run, so stay tuned and subscribe for more details if that does happen. Ever heard of the term Venetism? It refers to the process of regaining the ideologies of the Republic of Venice and upholding its traditions, customs, and values. To simply put it, it would mean to gain more monopoly, or rather acquire its independence from Italy. The region of Venice lost its fate when the Kingdom of Lombardy-Venetia voted to join itself with Italy despite millions of pleas and protests of several independent supporters who remain unchanged in their opinion and fight for their independence to this day. The Kingdom of Lombardy-Venetia held great power during its time of reign. It was a city-state maritime republic and a prominent European trading role during the Middle Age and Renaissance periods. These individuals still try to regain their independence, and although in 2014 the local government pushed for a modified or new referendum, which gained 98% votes demanding freedom of the state, but the Italian constitution merely deemed it to be illegal, crushing the hopes of an independent Venice. Instead, the majority of the public voted for autonomy and soon began negotiations for a more autonomous authority of power. The new independent country of Venice would include all the previous and original territories, and maybe a few more territories as they follow the traditional Venetian culture. Interestingly, the term Venetism also refers to a strong opposition of the idea of another independence movement, Padania, an independent state in the north of Italy. The Padania movement took initiative since they were already an independent country as the Republic of Venice, La Serenissima. There is potential for a rebirth of the Venetian Republic, and who knows, Venice could retain its historical power to this day and maybe regain its lost independence. But number one on our list is Korea. Now, you might wonder why Korea, since it is already split into two independent countries, is on our list. But we're talking about the nation of Korea as a whole, a unification between the northern and southern parts of Korea. The reunification had been active since the armistice in 1953, but the underlying fact that both parties have a highly varied ruling system makes it all the more difficult. The country was united as a whole until the Cold War took place, which stood as a stepping stone leading to its division, while the South Korea stood by the United States policies and the North Korea followed the path of the USSR. The reunification agreement signed by both parties on the 15th of June could be considered as a positive sign of change. This was again reinforced in 2018, but for this to happen, both the countries would require to cooperate with themselves and eradicate the military tensions. However, later on during a press conference, the government of North Korea declared that it will not likely join hands with South Korea. The northern part of this nation is making it all the more difficult to become a unified nation in the near future. The North Korea is an independent autonomous state that follows a dictatorship ruling, whereas the southern part of Korea is mainly focused on the citizens. Thereby causing these nations to collide means that they would have to let go of the dictatorship and military tension. However, the fate of these nations solely depends on the citizens of the country as a whole, but there have been no initiations so far. But maybe we can see it happening someday. If these regions were to join hands, they could ultimately benefit from this collision. The advanced technology, economy, and infrastructure of one nation, and the economy of the other nation can bring forth a positive change for Korea as a unified whole, making it more technologically and infrastructurally advanced country. But it is wholly up to the nations to put away their differences and perhaps find unity. Although the unified participation of both countries in the Winter Olympics have given a spark of hope, there are no clear signs of a reunification in the near future. But we don't know for sure what might unfold in the future. While all these nations continue to fight for their vision and identify, only a few make it into the world map and create an identity of their own. Which country do you think has got the most chance of becoming an independent nation? Don't forget to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now you know the new countries that might exist soon, but do you know how Europe's next war could start in the Balkans? Make sure to watch this video to find out.